For anyone who didn't grow up around Asia, the silhouette of this car should not look familiar at all. This is a Toyota Crown Comfort, and it was designed to function as a taxi cab in Japan, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Yes, it looks as boring as it sounds, but a closer look and a keen eye will reveal that this one is no ordinary taxi. A rear wing, bucket seats, aftermarket wheels, supercharger, manual? No, this is no normal cab. This is truly something special and a project car deserving of our excitement and time. In 2003, Toyota decided to produce a limited TRD version of one of the most boring and generic cars in an attempt to make it a little sportier. First, they shoved a supercharger onto the 3S FE engine, boosting power from 110 to 160 horses. Sport suspension, beefier roll bars, Watanabe wheels, and performance exhaust were then added. And finally, some TRD goodies: a body kit, bucket seats, steering wheel, shift knob, plus some Amore gauges make for one cool, souped-up taxi. The Comfort GTZ Supercharger was the name given to this madness, and only 59 of these were produced, making this one of the rarest Toyota models. We were lucky enough to find one in Japan, but in very average condition. You know the drill by now. We will attempt to make this car as new and as original as possible. Time to kick off our TRD taxi project. While the car doesn't come with significant mileage, we still want to give the engine a complete overhaul, giving it a new lease on life. So yes, the first mission is taking the engine out from the chassis. And to do that, we first need to remove all the ancillary parts. Top of the engine bay is done. Now we lift up the car to continue the work from the bottom. We are removing the under tray to allow easy access to get the exhaust out of the way. Other than dirt, grime, and dust, the undercarriage is in great condition with straight chassis rails, meaning the car never had any accidents. All the fluids from the drivetrain are being drained. More and more parts are coming off. This is quite a simple car to work on, as Toyota designed a very straightforward car. Again, this was meant to be a taxi. With some key bolting points undone, we can simply lift up the chassis and drop the engine and the gearbox onto the ground. As you would imagine, we have ordered tons of new parts for this project, and rebuilding the engine will be one major part of it. Working towards the back of the car, more and more nuts and bolts are being undone. Dropping the rear axle assembly is a piece of cake. Just need to be aware of the weight. All suspension parts are now being removed too, leaving a bare chassis underneath. With all the chunky parts out of the way, it is a great time to dry ice blast the bottom of the chassis, giving it a super deep cleansing before we move on to the next steps of the project. The exhaust has definitely seen better days. We would love to just order a new unit, but this is a very special TRD item designed specifically for the taxi, and it is no longer available new. So we definitely need to salvage and restore it. To start, we are giving the chrome tip a bit of deep cleansing. Some metal cleaner with fine sandpaper to rid the heavy surface of gunk. Second step is to use metal polish to rejuvenate the surface. Look at the result. At least this part of the muffler is looking like new now. We have now taped up the polished exhaust tip, but the rest of the unit is still looking dreadful. Can you guess what we are doing next? Along with some heat shields, suspension arms, and the massive rear axle assembly, we are sending all of them off to the powder coating shop. On to the refurbishment of the supercharged heart of this Comfort. The 3S FE engine is a commonly used powerhouse in the Toyota range. Thanks to the expertise of our engine team, the rebuild is very straightforward. Here is a video montage of how we turn a dirty old engine into a totally refreshed, almost brand new unit. As you will see, we try to use as many new items from Toyota as possible. We are loving the looks of our refreshed engine. What about you? With the engine out and the undercarriage cleaned, we can start on the bodywork, and no restoration would be completed without a fresh coat of paint. We are literally spending days in the paint booth, not to mention the prep work before getting each and every part ready for the new paint. It is a lot of work, but hey, when you see the end result later on, it is definitely worth it. Before we put the gearbox back with the engine, again, using our dry ice blaster, we can quickly remove a lot of stubborn road grime, grease, and dirt without damaging the casing. A really satisfying process to see as the result is immediate. The steering rack also gets some TLC. The gearbox can now go back with the refurbished engine. A bit of fiddling is needed to have them lined up. The chassis is back in the work bay after its revitalizing paint job. We can start with the fun part of attaching the engine, drivetrain, and suspension back onto the car. Here comes the big moment. The powertrain is in place, and we simply lower the chassis onto the mounting points. Is it just us? This process is just ultra satisfying to watch. The engine and the gearbox are in. We work our way through the rest of the undercarriage, and boy, do we have some long days ahead of us. Just take a look at all those freshly restored parts that came back from the powder coating shop. We begin with the rear axle, lifting the whole assembly and securing back to the chassis. Bet you haven't seen drum brakes for a while. Assembling the front suspension is up next. New bushings all around with sway bar end links and front lower control arms are installed. This will certainly be a tidy handling taxi once it's back on the road. Next up, brand new front rotors and pads and brake lines. All four corners have been completed. The final step is the whole exhaust system going back into the car. While the car is still up, we are putting in some fresh new differential fluid. A specific spray wax is applied to all the undercarriage area. This helps preserve the impeccable condition by adding an extra layer of protection against potential corrosion. There we have it. One major milestone has been reached. Shall we take a moment to admire the refreshed undercarriage? We lower the car back down and we start work on the final parts of the engine assembly. As if it was Christmas, boxes and wrappings are piling up as we open and install new parts after new parts. One by one, we add the other engine components into the engine bay. A brand new radiator will certainly make this one cool taxi. We then add some new fluids and we're not far off from starting this engine up for the first time after its rebuild. Some final TRD embellishments including an air filter, oil cap and radiator cap, and we are all systems go for a first restart. While we're at it, we also put in new brake fluid and bleed the braking system. She's alive, and all it needed was just a few cranks. Some new service stickers are going to the engine covers. Thank goodness we can still buy these from Toyota. Taking reference from the catalog, we make sure to get the position perfectly aligned. The new air duct is being fitted as we are almost done with the engine bay work. The TRD strut bar has been repainted, and we managed to find a brand new TRD badge. Using some masking tape, we take extra care to perfectly center the badge, and just like that, the strut bar is ready to be put back where it belongs. Last but not least, brand new engine under tray pieces. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the hard work from the team. Cue the engine appreciation shots. With the engine breathing a new lease on life, all the dirty work has been finished, and a soapy foam wash is much needed. This helps to ensure there is no residual dust or contaminants left on the exterior in preparation for the polishing job that we will perform later on. Few things make such a dramatic visual impact on a car as the condition of one's headlamps. Even with a pristine body, having murky, cloudy, or scratched up headlights is just an eyesore. So of course, we had to secure brand new units for this car. The front bumper can finally make its way back too. Loving how the new orange indicators pop in contrast to the white exterior. With the bumper back on, we can install the new fender liners. Always such a pleasure to install new parts such as these plastic clips, as they are notorious for becoming brittle and cracking over time. New fog lights are next, and these go into the front bumper with ease. Just like the orange indicators, the yellow indicators stand out and add some real character in contrast to the white exterior. You're probably wondering why we didn't spray the used wheels. Lucky for us, we can still buy the iconic Watanabe wheels brand new, along with new wheel nuts and valve stems. This really helps make the car stand out from the regular Toyota Crowns. With some fresh rubber mounted, we apply a few layers of glass coating. Once hardened, these will help add further protection to the wheels from scratches and also make cleaning a breeze. The wheels can go back onto the car. Yet another milestone reached. We are slowly but surely trucking along. After weeks of mega hard work, the TRD Comfort is finally back on the ground. Restoration done? Not even close. Next up, the interior, and just like the rest of the car, we plan to leave no panel or trim untouched, replaced, or restored. We start with the easiest part, which is to completely gut the interior. With the seats out of the way, we have plenty more space to work with. As you can already tell, some interior parts are very tired looking, especially the steering wheel. No issue though, we have a good game plan ahead of us. Dash removal? Check. We turn our attention to the rest of the interior. And like a closing down sale, everything must go. Now that the big floor carpet is out of the way, we use a vacuum to hoover up any leftover fluff, dirt, and debris. A steam cleaner is in action to remove any stubborn stains and also to sanitize some hard-to-reach areas. Painstakingly, we scrub away the old butyl sealant used to secure the vapor barrier between the metal frame and the door panel. It's the little things like this that can often be overlooked, but to us, that is the standard that we set ourselves to every day at the shop. Dry ice blasting all the exposed interior chassis, a final step before we start the assembling process. There you go, a completely bare interior shell that has been cleaned and detailed. Brand new dash has arrived, and we get to work on installing new AC vents before putting the whole big unit back into the car. More new items are being installed. No, this isn't a convertible top, but rather the roof liner that we'll be installing together. All the interior trims that go with the liner are, of course, new too. This is definitely a two-person job to get the liner into place. It might look like a difficult task, but actually, it's quite straightforward. New edge trims are going in. Just some slight gentle taps are needed. We will have tons of new items surrounding the roof area too, unboxing and installing them one by one. The upper interior is all sorted. Now back to the floor area. Same old routine. Aesthetics is one thing, but here at Contempo Concept, restoration means every facet of a car. We have brand new seatbelts from Toyota because safety is also a priority. After installing new custom-made vapor barriers, we can then get to work on assembling the doors with completely new parts. No expense spared here as we source new switches, panels, armrests, and handles. With the instrument cluster out, we take the opportunity to give it a freshen up. A new complete plastic cover goes on top of the unit. A scratch-free cluster screen is always a welcome sight, especially if you are driving under the sun. We finish off the passenger side with a new factory airbag unit and glove box assembly. Get that matte finish of all the new parts. Just perfect! We have lost count of how many new Toyota plastic bags we have unwrapped by now, and for sure, if you keep watching, there will be a lot more coming. Weather seals can often fail if the car is exposed to harsh weather for a long period of time. So for certain, we have to replace all of them with new plush soft rubber. The rear seats have been thoroughly cleaned and are ready to go back in. With both the passenger and driver's side of the dash completed, we turn our attention to the middle, which in this Comfort has one of the more unique features. We were able to order a brand new center dash panel for this car. No taximeter here, folks. Instead, we find a super cool original Amori triple gauge cluster. There's also a section of the dash dedicated to the Supercharger control settings. All, of course, is specific to this TRD taxi. The center console is next, and once again, a full catalog of brand new parts is being installed. Home stretch now, and with the bulk of the interior already completed, the original TRD seats have seen better days, and we are certainly not going to reuse them. With a lot of luck, we were able to source a new set of these TRD seats from Thailand. The owner has kept them in storage for many years, and we paid a lot of money to convince him to let them go. The new padding on the bolster will ensure even the most aggressive taxi driver won't be sliding around through turns. And if you think the new seats are rare, take a look at this next item. A brand new TRD steering wheel popped up in an auction site a few months ago. We just had to have it. It came all the way from California, and we are absolutely over the moon. Out of the packaging and straight onto the car they go. The red stitching on the new wheel is a welcome subtle hint of color to the interior. Meanwhile, the shift knob is a much easier item to find, as you can still buy this TRD item new today. We simply twist it on and align the logo properly. Oh yes, we have new kick panels and door sills too. And finally, to end our interior rejuvenation, a set of new Toyota rubber floor mats is the star of our finale. Surprisingly, these are ultra difficult to find. We stumbled across this set at a Japanese auction site, and 3 seconds later, we clicked the Buy It Now button. The mats require cutting to size as part of the installation. Perhaps a bit industrial looking, but these fare much better over time than carpet mats, which may fray and get stained. Not to mention, rubber mats are much easier to clean. Take a look at this footage. Would you believe that this is a brand new Toyota that just rolled off the production line? We spend the next few days giving the body a thorough polish on each and every panel. Although the car was just painted, a polish is essential, not only to remove any clear coat imperfections, but also to create a smooth and mirror-like finish. New window trims are popping back onto the doors. With only 59 of these cars worldwide, there are some rather specific parts that we simply can't buy new from Toyota anymore. Where we can, and condition permitting, we need to reuse existing factory parts on the car, and in this example, we go the extra mile to restore this trunk badge. With the exception of the restored GTZ rear badge, we bought all new rear badges. Using some masking tape as a reference, we make sure we apply the badges with the utmost care and precision. Applying the nano titanium glass coating is an excellent way to extend the longevity of a car's paint. Once cured, the coating hardens to create a rock-hard barrier which protects the paint against UV and light scratches. Lastly, it makes cleaning an absolute breeze as the water simply just beads off the paint. The rear of the car gets the same attention as the front as we source and install brand new taillights. To cap off the exterior revamp, we also purchased a new front grille. It's a great looking piece with its factory gunmetal finish. A new Toyota badge is sold separately. A few bolts to secure it, and job done. And of course, the rear Toyota badge is also new. Fresh bonnet weather strip and the big heat insulator complete the final touches of the engine bay. Oh wait, we still have new stickers to put on. We highly doubt if the spare wheel has ever been used, but it is just a bit dirty for sitting in the trunk for so many years. A nice foamy bubble bath is needed. Probably no one will ever lay eyes on this spare wheel again, but for us, every part must be perfect. Yes, we are giving the wheel a quick polish, and then applying glass coating to further enhance the shine. A new spare wheel anchor bolt secures the wheel back in place. We haven't forgotten about the trunk either. All new trims have been ordered for this special taxi, covering all 360 degrees of the trunk area. With the larger items all sorted, we turn our focus to the final details. Ordered some new TRD keychains to go along with the new sets of keys. The keychain's TRD logo matches the one on the strut bar too. Since the car has been completely repainted, all the inner factory stickers had to be removed. Unfortunately, the tire pressure sticker is no longer available new. So what do? Referencing the original sticker, we are creating a brand new one from scratch. The tire size and pressure numbers are specific to the Watanabe wheels. Every detail matters. With some steady hands, they are placed into their correct positions. The existing fuel cap cover, not surprisingly, looks very worn. This being a TRD special item, we can't buy this new anymore. Logically, we apply a few layers of new paint, and now it looks brand spanking new. With the old center badge looking like this, for sure we are not going to reuse it. We found that the current TRD catalog has a newer fuel cap cover version available, and the badge is exactly what we are after. Using a heat gun to soften the glue, we carefully remove the metal badge. Night and day difference indeed. Carefully we stick the new badge onto the painted cover. What a transformation! Well, yes, of course, the cap itself has to be new, right? All done? Oh wait, let's put a new unleaded fuel sticker onto the door. Are we the only people that would spend so much time on something that no one can see? Again, perfection is what we are after. So, engine, suspension, paint, interior are all done. Are we missing anything? Thrilled to see the car comes with its original owner's manual, with an added booklet produced specifically for this TRD version. All TRD parts have their dedicated manuals too. And check out the comprehensive service history of this car. Let's replace the factory manual pouch with a brand new TRD one. Yes, it's likely to be considered unnecessary, but when you've done this much to a car, is there really such a thing as over the top? And As is becoming tradition here at Contempo Concept, where possible, we try to find scale replicas of the cars we restore. Isn't this just an awesome collection of memorabilia? And with that, we have finally completed our TRD taxi project.
After nearly a year of hard work, this TRD Crown is finally ready for a test drive. So I'm happy to report that everything is working perfectly. The engine, the gearbox, the electronics, they are all flawless. Now, a Toyota isn't exactly the hardest of cars to restore, don't get me wrong, but still, after nearly a year of work, putting everything back together and it all working flawlessly, that is very satisfying to see. Hats off to the boys at the shop for that one. How does it drive, you wonder? Well, don't forget this car is called a Comfort and it was always meant to be a taxi. So even with all of the TRD upgrades and goodies, it still is definitely not a sports car. It's moderately quick when the supercharger is blowing. However, the steering is quite slow and lazy. And even with the upgraded TRD suspension, the car still rides like a Rolls Royce. Again, Comfort. Now, this car was never meant to be a sleeker or a Supra, but you do have to appreciate just how mad Toyota was to modify a taxi in-house, giving it some credibility and sporting credentials. This car was never going to bring in more income for Toyota, more so it was an ultra cool side project for the engineers. Only 59 of these cars were made. 59. You have more chance of seeing a McLaren F1 on the roads than you do one of these. I'm just really glad that we had the opportunity to buy this car and with tons of labour of love bring it back to brand spanking new condition. We hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you again soon on the next one.